What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here. Today to talk a little baseball. The Super Bowl has come and gone. The Rams are your NFL championship. And millions upon millions of Joe Burrow sales are getting returned, unpaid, and sent back to their sellers as we speak. But it's time to dig into baseball, even though there's not really a baseball season on the horizon, at least not yet. Boy, it would be nice to get this elephant out of the room and them have some dates locked in and we could see what's going on. At this point, at time of recording, because this could always all change, we don't really know what the hell's going on with the baseball season. I fully believe we have a baseball season. My guess is they start relatively on time and maybe spring training gets truncated a little bit is my lean right now. Obviously, that could change as information comes in, but it's been messy to this point. But the card market moves on. It's going to do its thing, and we need to roll along with it. I briefly talked about this Sunday in the Week in Review video. The baseball market has been as flat could be. So I just kind of wanted to run down some numbers, more looking at a longer term aspect, like last 90 days is what we're going to look at today. And kind of talk about my approach, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking about in regards to baseball stuff. First off, let's go ahead and dive into market movers. Link in the description down below if you want your own fancy charts and graphs. Like, comment, subscribe, the whole 9 yards while you're down there. I pulled up Wander Franco and Bobby Witt. My main reason for doing this isn't so much, and none of these things I'm saying like run out and go buy or whatever. I really don't make those types of videos that much anymore, if at all, really. I just kind of wanted to show something here in regards to the population count. Wander Franco's base Bowman Chrome has a pop of almost 11,000 already. His mega box, this one here, is at 3,500. If I was going to go for a Wander Franco card that wasn't like, a first Bowman auto or refractor or something crazy like that, you're just looking for something like more base level, entry level, something on a little bit on the lower scale end, whether it's PSA 10, PSA 9, I would be looking at the Mojo just because of this population. This number is huge already. And really what I wanted to show this for is we're going to flip over to Bobby Witt. So remember this almost 11K number. Now let's look at Bobby Witt. His PSA 10 first Bowman Chrome is only at 1,200. Big reason why PSA has pretty much been shut down for most of this. So it has suppressed his PSA pop report number. There are a lot more than 1,200 Bobby Witt first Bowman Chrome PSA 10s out there in the world. They just haven't been graded yet. Just be careful chasing this card thinking it's low population. I feel like most people that watch this channel probably know that. But I just kind of wanted to put it out there and to keep in mind if you see this card swing a little bit more wildly price-wise, that could be a reason why. His Mega Box his Mega Box Mojo, whatever you want to call this thing, refractor at pop 1,200, to me makes a little bit more sense. It's still probably low. Once again, Franco's was 3,000 and that was the year before. So we kind of know what's going on out there. I'd feel a little bit better about that one, just because we know it's going to be slightly lower population than the base card. So if I was going to go into one, and these guys are basically selling for about the same. Witt has gotten a little run up once again over the last 90 days. His Mega Box refractor is up 36%. His base is up 14%. Franco's base is up 2%. His Mega Box is up 22%. I would be really hesitant about the base cards on either one of these guys, especially the Franco, because we know that population count is already really high. And the Witt, like I said, I would be scared. If I was going to get into this card knowing I was going to sell it in a couple months, I would feel okay about it. I would not look to be holding a base first Bowman Chrome on Witt long term. The population on that card will increase as grading becomes cheaper. And if it really catches on, people will be cracking them out of SGC slabs or wherever else they got graded at and sending them in the PSA if prices get cheap enough where it makes sense. So just be careful with that card. I don't have any Witt anymore. I had a Mojo box. I traded it away in that Acuna deal for the auto. So moving along. How I'm approaching the baseball market. I currently own, baseball-wise, I have a nice Tatis Prism Refractor. I have two Soto, mostly Soto stuff. The Soto Pinks, Soto First Bowman, or the Bowman's Best Auto. A couple Lubobs, and that's really about it. An Ohtani PSA 9 Pink Refractor. Not really a crazy amount of inventory. And I don't know that I want to look to put a bunch of money into the upper end guys other than maybe like a first Bowman of Soto or Tatis, mostly Soto. Just because I want to have one as a very long-term hold in regards to baseball. Soto is the only one that I really believe in, like as in buy it and just tuck it away for a while. So buying into like a Vlad, an Acuna, a Tatis, that sort of stuff as a potential flip in season to me is a little scary just because their prices are inflated. You're talking about anywhere from $400 to $600 for a base refractor, depending on which player you're talking about. We'll run through the prices here in a minute. And for those cards that go way, way up, they're going to need to play pretty good to reset that market and send the prices skyrocketing. Now, it might give a little bit of a bounce just because maybe news comes out tomorrow that the baseball season's back on, whatever, and that causes a bunch of prices to soar. That could absolutely happen. I don't know that I see that happening. I'm sure they'll go up a little bit, but I don't know if it's enough to make up the difference of, eBay fees and whatnot. Maybe if you could buy it a show for cash or whatever, and then flip it later or use it as trade bait into something else, you can work that angle on it. But the days I think of buying like a Tatis refractor for 400, him getting hot and it going to 650 and then selling it, I don't think we're there anymore, especially for those guys that have expectations built into them. What I am mostly looking at are two things: autos, which we'll talk about at the very end of this video, and some of the lower priced guys. And when I talked about this on Sports Cards Anonymous live stream about a week or so ago, I am really honed in on the guys that are going for around low hundreds in a PSA 10 refractor. And I'm going to run through examples. And there's other guys that I'm looking at besides this. And once again, I'm not saying run out and buy these guys. But this is the type of players that I am looking for because their expectations are, not that high, obviously, because there's not a lot baked into their prices already at around 100 and some bucks for a refractor. I don't see it going down a ton, even if they play, slightly below what their expectation is. I don't think these cards are going to crash to the bottom because they're already pretty reasonably priced to begin with. And these players have a following with them that I think will at least keep the market up. So I feel like their floors are kind of high given the entry-level price point. However, if one of them breaks out, I could see it going from $100 and some refractor to a $200 or $300 refractor, maybe even higher. Think like Vlad last year. Not saying that one of these guys is going to come out and have a Vlad Guerrero like season, but outperform expectations compared to what their prices are at. So first one, and for all these guys, I pulled their base refractor, their pink refractor, and their prism refractor. Just to kind of give a little bit of comparison, typically what you end up finding is the base refractor and the pink refractor sell for almost identical sums of money. And then the prism refractor has a little bit of a leg up on those. I didn't pull X fractors, but those are usually the next step up. And then you get into the numbered stuff. I didn't include any of that because the population reports start getting low and I wanted a lot of sales data. Once again, we're looking at 90 days. So first up, Devers. Talked about him a bunch. I just really like his price point. Once again, he had a fantastic year last year. I kept waiting for his stuff to catch on and it just really didn't. And I'm betting that he has another really good season this year. Whether or not he can kind of get through to that next tier, that part could be tricky. But if he comes out and has a really strong start to the season or something, maybe he catches a little bit of fire price-wise. His base refractor is only going for $150. His pink refractor, this says $260, but if you look at the graph, there looked like there was some nonsense going on with this one where it spiked way up. The previous sale was $145, which is in line with the base refractor, so I'm going to say it's a $150 card. His prism refractor actually had kind of a low sale at $143. I cannot find one that cheap. The cheapest one available is $225, which to me is right in line where it should be. So I don't think that's like a screaming deal or anything. I just think that's where it should be sitting at right now, given what the pink and base are going for. But my main focus here is really the base refractor at $150. Seems extremely reasonable to me. Could this card go down? Yeah, absolutely. All cards could go down. But I think it has a relatively high floor of probably around $100. If he just repeats last season, I don't see this card crashing. But if he can have a little bit of a better season or just kind of break out a little bit, I can see this card or a player like this potentially going up. And once again, you can see his market's basically been flat. His base refractor over the last 90 days has not budged at all, which is going to be a trend. Next, Lou Bob. Talked about him a ton. Rinse and repeat everything all over again. He has a lot of hype behind him. He's very popular. But his prices don't really reflect it. His base refractor is going for 135, but he's a household name. Everyone knows him. Once again, very little shift over the last 90 days, so it's not like you're buying in on an upswing or anything like that. His prices have essentially been flat since late last season. 90 days takes us back to right before Thanksgiving, so we're well into the offseason at that point. And his prices really haven't moved. His Pink Refractor is selling for pretty much the same amount, 131, and the Prism Refractor is going for 190. That one's up ever so slightly. And that one actually feels like probably the best deal between those three. If I was going to do a 135, I would probably just spend a little bit extra and get the Prism at 190. I currently own just a Prism. I traded away my Pink. But for 135 bucks on a base level refractor, just as a gamble, as a spec play, doesn't feel terrible to me. I'm not running out. I could sit here and probably buy a bunch of them up right now. I could buy 10 of them right now if I wanted to. I'm not doing that, but I'm at least intrigued by it. It's on my radar. If I'm in a trade night and it pops up, I might grab one. If I could get one for a decent price, maybe cash for $100 or something, 110, 115, I might grab one. I'm not running out and smacking the bin on eBay at 135, but it's on my radar. It's just players that I am keeping an eye out for, and if something falls into my lap, I will pull the trigger on it. Another one, once again, not very surprising, very similar to Lubob pricing-wise, Bichette. PSA 10 base refractor, 130, Pinks at 123, and the Prisms at 170. Almost right in line with Lubob. And very little movement. Once again, his base refractor is up a whopping 2% over the last 3 months. So, not paying some big inflated premium on it. To me, a very low-risk card in regards to it has a high floor. Maybe you don't make a killing on it. Maybe you end up selling it in the spring, the summer, or the fall for around the same price as what you paid for it. Barring an injury or an absolute tankathon by the player, I just don't see this card going to $50 or anything crazy like that. Could it happen? Obviously, yes. Something like that could happen. It just feels very safe to me because you're not getting it at an inflated price. Now, let's look at some of the more trendy guys that we talk about all the time. Vlad, base refractor, $300. Of the more upper tier guys, to me, his stuff is the most reasonably priced given what he did last year. I don't know if people are still skeptical about him falling off the wagon and hitting the buffet again or what. Maybe just because he's not the defensive wizard in the world. He's more of a DH style. I don't know, but his numbers last year were absolutely insane. And especially when you compare his numbers and then his prices to the other guys of that upper crust, he to me is the most appealing. I also just really like the player as well, so that kind of helps. His base refractor, $300. It's been sitting there the entire off season. Pink refractor, $365, slightly above the base. That might be a little high, but it's within line. And then his Prism refractor, $520. This feels a little bit of an outlier. Prior to this, it had been sitting at about $475, and then one sale kind of spiked this way up. So I don't know. I don't like this at like 500 and some bucks. Under 500, 475, 450 even. Maybe interesting. I actually had one of these and just traded it away. I no longer have a nice Vlad card in my inventory after making the deal. Tatis. Love him. He's absolutely insane. His prices, even though they are down a little bit from what they were in season, and he's actually crept up a little bit over the course of the offseason, more so than anyone else that we've looked at. His base refractor's at $500. It's up 10%. His Pink's up 14% at $470. And his Prism refractor, which I do own one of these still, is at $630, up 5%. I can tell you right now, I bought one in October for $700. So it's down slightly from its prices when the season actually ended. I bought that in the actual MLB playoffs. After they got eliminated, I bought that. I thought maybe it would be on its downswing. It got all the way down to 600 and just kind of bounced back up from there. So it is up slightly. You can see $600 9 months ago or 3 months ago, up to $630 now. I feel confident this card will probably get back to $700. I don't feel confident I'm going to make a killing on this card. I probably just end up washing out on this, or maybe taking a slight loss on it, depending on when I decide to move it. But his stuff is slightly up compared to some of the other guys, but not huge. You're talking about a 10% increase here and there. The whole thing with Tatis is if he could actually stay healthy and put a full season in, he would put up God knows what sort of home run numbers, and his prices would probably go insane. But he obviously has major injury concerns and scares with his shoulder. And you just, every time he swings, you cringe that it's just going to fly out of place again and he's going to miss another month, like what happened last season. But when he is on the field and he is healthy, if you could guarantee me a full health season, he would be one of my favorite players on this list because I would think $500 would be cheap for his refractor. But the injury imp hangs over everything when it comes to Tatis. Moving along, Acuna. Extremely popular. In my opinion, a little bit risky because we have no updates on what is going on with his ACL reconstruction. We don't know when he's going to come back, and we're not getting any updates because guys aren't in spring training working out to get a timeline on things. If the season actually misses like a month or so, it might actually help Acuna because he might be able to actually start the regular season right off the get. We don't really know. We don't know what he's going to look like. How much is he going to run? Does it hurt his defense? It is 2022. ACL reconstructions are a whole different ballgame than what they used to be. It's just a little scary. His offseason stuff also has not shifted much. This shows that he's down 12% on his base refractor. His base refractor is basically bounced between 400 and 450 pretty much the entire offseason. His pink, 545. Actually, a little bit of a premium on that compared to his base refractor. You typically don't see that big of an increase. And his prism refractor at 545, also up slightly, but also not as wide a gap as you typically see between that and the pink. The pink is getting a lot of extra juice here. I really don't know why. The population count's always lower on the pink compared to the regular refractor, but in this case, it just seems to be getting a little bit of an extra premium. Once again, I don't really know why. Maybe it's just some weirdness with the way the sales happen to line up. My favorite here would once again be the prism refractor, just given the price point. I'm not going to pay $545 for a pink if you're telling me I could get a prism for the same price. I do like the base refractor at around this number, maybe a little bit cheaper because there is some risk involved there. If he comes out and he is healthy and he starts the season hot, his stuff could spike up. But there's a very good scenario where he's coming off an ACL injury. They don't rush him. Maybe he has a little bit of a setback, a little bit of a slow start to the season, and his stuff comes down. So that would be my big concern with Acuna. And this is someone talking that just actually traded into a very big Acuna auto. That I would actually, the main reason that I got that is specifically to take it to the Atlanta show in about a week, to have that as inventory, as whether to be put it in the showcase with Steve or to flip it at a trade night or something like that. I just feel like that would be a card that would do really well there. And my worst case scenario is I'm stuck with an Acuna card, a nice Acuna card, which is not the worst thing in the world. So I'll gladly hold on to it if it doesn't move. Moving along, Ohtani, once again, same thing. His stuff's actually down slightly over the last 90. His base refractor is 465. The pink is at 530. And his prism refractor, one has not sold in a month, last did 800. He's one, obviously, who the hell knows what could happen here. If he repeats what he did last year, look out for price-wise. If he just hits but doesn't pitch well or has some injury issues, obviously his stuff could go down, bounce around a little bit. He is the one that I legitimately just have absolutely no idea what to do with price-wise. If you have a lot of risk, if you're willing to take a lot of risk and you want to hold him in the season, you can make a killing just like last year if he comes out and repeats what he did. But there's obviously a real chance that does not happen. It would be uncharted territory. I am of the mind I don't want to carry a lot of Ohtani, but I wouldn't mind having at least one tucked away just in case, is kind of how I approach Ohtani. I only have one. It's a PSA 9 pink. It's not a crazy card. It's a $200 card. It is not anything wild. I wouldn't mind trying to get into at least one, at least PSA 10 level refractor, something. It doesn't have to be a crazy card, and just kind of set it aside and forget about it for a while. And just kind of see what happens as a just in case. Obviously, it would be a lot of risk, though, because he is a very risky player, but a very entertaining player. It's just kind of one of those ones where, regardless of the whole, investing, flipping, whatever money angle, it's just fun to have his card. It was fun to have one of his cards last year when he was just going absolutely berserk. And, if I have to carry a little bit of risk in the season to carry one of his cards in, to re-experience that if it happens, then so be it. I know the downside risk with it. It is what it is. But every once in a while, you just got to be a fan and have some fun. Soto, my personal poster boy for the channel. I love Soto. I love his stuff. I love his cards. I would like to get more of him. To me, he is the safest play when it comes to baseball, even at inflated prices. Sure, you might ride the wave a little bit here, but he is just such a unique spot in the hobby because of the way he got called up and his cards released and the limited supply on stuff that people really want. as in flagship product, like, 2018 Topps Update, whether it be Chrome or regular. There's just very limited supply constraints on his product. And to me, he is the best young baseball player in the league by a mile. So it just causes this weird storm around him. And I'm just fascinated by that. And I'm drawn to it. So I just really like to acquire Soto's stuff. So these are the three main cards that I pulled for him for a PSA 10. You have the rainbow foil out of regular Topps Update. That's sitting at about $1,200-$1,300. It's been flat most of the offseason. You have a short print variation. This is the hands-on hips. He obviously has the Gatorade bath. I didn't pull that. Gatorade bath sell for astronomical sums of money. This is a PSA 10 hands-on hips. Pop 300 on this one, 289, just slightly less than the rainbow foil. This is going for $1,625, up about 10% during the offseason. And then the probably one of the mascots of the channel, the pink Soto refractor. Pop about $650 on this one. They're sitting at $1,350 recently, actually down slightly from the offseason. There have been 3 sales in a row at $1,350. This card has sold for over $1,600 and as low as $1,200 at various times over the winter. So, I could see this card going anywhere. I have one listed for sale on My Slabs. I think I have it at like $1,700 with offers. And I have it listed on eBay for, I believe, the same price once again with offers. I would like to move one. I am in no hurry to move one. It would have to be the right deal. I'm not just going to give it away. I'm extremely willing to hold that card or both of them. If I could use it to get into something else that I really want, I will. But it's like on the list of things I would like to move because I have 2 of them that's on the list, but it's not like I need to get rid of this thing tomorrow. So that's kind of where I sit with Soto. I would really like to get a first Bowman Chrome of his. Obviously, I've talked about it a ton. Even a PSA 9, BGS 9 would be fine. That is high on my list of things to keep my eyes out for in Atlanta to potentially trade into, or maybe if I sell a bunch of stuff, use cash for it, whatever. And then last but not least, I just kind of wanted to dip in on the autos really quickly here. These are the Topps Chrome base rookie autos. I've really been looking at these a lot more lately. I did not include a Soto here because Soto really doesn't have one. His is numbered. It sells for astronomical sums of money. His best rookie auto, in my opinion, for an entry-level point is the one that I have, the Bowman's Best. One just sold for about $1,600 on bids just a couple days ago. I have a PSA 1010, so I'd probably get a little extra premium on that. But for that price range, that's probably your best bet for a Soto auto. And then just kind of running down here once again, not huge price swings on most of these guys, but some of these prices are very reasonable. To go back to the beginning of the video, a Devers PSA 10 rookie auto only goes for about $400 or $500. A Bichette, $500 to $600. Lubob actually gets a little bit more of a premium at $900. A Bichette has not sold forever. Lubob sold in January. And then Acuna, one has not sold since December in a PSA 10, so there's no real good comp on that. I didn't look to see if any BGS 9.5s have sold recently, because when you get into 2018, the BGS 9.5 is sometimes a little bit more prevalent. The Tatis going for around $2,000, and then the Vlad at $1,300. I would be all over this Vlad at $1,300 if his autograph didn't suck. He's one of the worst autographs out there. I really like the Acuna auto. It is a little sloppy, but I don't know. There's something about it that just looks really nice. Tatis, to me, is the most intriguing one here. At $2,000, I'm not sure I'm willing to jump on that. But I am intrigued by these lesser ones. A Devers for $400 or $500 seems reasonable enough. A Bo Bichette, if you could find one for under $600, I would be interested. I'm not running for it, but I'd be intrigued. Lubob at $900 feels okay. That feels like a little bit of a premium there. But I just like the idea. They're all on-card autos. The population counts are all really low on them. If you're looking to get something like a level up from a refractor. I didn't include Ohtani on here either. Because he has a lot of different options and his stuff is super expensive. So that's where I'm at with the baseball market. Curious where you guys and girls are regarding baseball in the comments down below. Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you holding your breath that we're going to have a season? Do you think we have a season? Let me know in the comments down below. We will catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.